is a UTV 44 sports production. The UTV 44 Game of the Week is brought to you by Whataburger.
The Battle of Old Shell Road goes back to 1978, and this year both St. Paul's and UMS have state championship dreams in their respective classifications. Good evening, I'm Jim Cox, my partner Dan Brennan, and Vic Lockett as we're back at Delaney Stadium for the last game of the regular season, and it's one we've been to a whole bunch of times, Dan Brennan, and the atmosphere is always great.
It's always great. A little warm tonight. I don't know if we need the vest or not, but I can tell you this much. These teams would like to win a state in each of their classification, think they can, but the players still see this as a very big game.
Yeah, and speaking of players, boy, UMS has got a guy on offense. They're going to have to score a lot of points, I think, to win tonight, and they got a guy who can do it for them.
Troy Dixon, and when his brother doesn't have the ball, you'll see him during the game too, but Troy's a fantastic running back. He goes about 175 pounds. Really, he's got all the moves in the world, and he's bulked up a little bit. He's got 1,692 total yards on the year, 19 touchdowns. Watch him as a tailback, watch him catching the ball out of the backfield, and watch him returning punts and kicks. He can do it.
You know, Coach Maskus told us, Vic, if there's one guy in his team that he had to pick to start a football team, it's a guy who wears number 1.
Yeah, you know, I usually like to talk about the front seven, but let's talk about the small guys in the back. Colin Town, none's no smaller than Colin. He's a guy that's had 35 tackles, and he's got 3 interceptions. Versatile player as well. You know, he'll play offense as well, and he'll return some kicks, so he'll be one to watch as well.
Should be a great matchup here tonight. The team's getting ready for the playoffs, but a lot of pride on the line as we get ready for the Battle of Old Shell Road. Stick around. Kickoff comes up next after this between UMS and St. Paul's. The Delaney Memorial Stadium here on Old Shell Road. A great setting for a high school football game and a great rivalry between UMS and St. Paul's tonight here on UTV 44 for week number 10 of the high school football season. The Saints, 5A powerhouse, UMS, a 4A powerhouse, and it should be a great one here tonight.
This place is so nice. It'd be a nice place to be if we got here on the wrong night. Beautiful setting.
It is wonderful. And before we go down to Pat Greenwood, we all would like to wish Pat Greenwood a very special happy birthday. Happy birthday, Patrick.
Oh, Greeny, you didn't tell me it was his birthday.
Yeah. I'm trying to fly under the radar. I can't seem to do it today, but I appreciate it, guys. Glad to spend my birthday with you guys tonight. And I'll tell you, the playoffs are set because St. Paul's will play Eufaula next week. UMS-Wright at home against St. James. So it's week 10. One of those weeks to take it easy and make sure nobody gets injured, right? Yeah, exactly. You got UMS and St. Paul's. You think these guys are going to take it easy on each other tonight? Not a chance.
Yeah, we have seen some, you talk about some of the games that we have seen over the years of doing this, Dan Brennan. Just look at Coach Steve Mass, first time as the head coach in this rivalry. And you look at some of the big physical games that we've seen between some of the 6A powers, but you always go back to the game we saw several years ago between these two that sticks out in the hundreds of games we've done, sticks out in your mind.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I can just about tell you what year it was. I think it was 2003, but Vic Lockett was one of those games where every play, there was such effort and force on every play. Not everybody was the biggest, not everybody was the fastest, but everybody was giving everything they had. There's a guy that's given everything he has to a great coaching career, Terry Curtis.
And he's 75%. Been around. He's seen a few games, huh?
Yes, he has.
State champions for UMS 2001, 2002, 2005, 2008. Tom Taylor ready to kick off. Towner and McPherson back deep, and they won't put it toward either of those two dangerous men as they have Austin Mosley pinned in over there at the 25-yard line of the St. Paul Saints, and their high-powered offense will come out, and they are led by their senior quarterback, Bradley Pageant. Pageant has thrown for 910 yards on the year, 12 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions. But, boy, they got some guys who can run the ball. Jordan Huff, all-time leading rusher here at St. Paul's. Then you bring in Austin McPherson, the freshman as well. When they do throw it, they'll look for Trayon Taint, number 14. And up front, you've got Whitfield, Latham, Johnston, Casher, Hillier, and 3 on the far side. Bradley Pageant played linebacker last year. Give it off to Jordan Huff, and Huff looking for some space. We'll get to the 27-yard line. And the UMS-Wright defense, they have forced 21 turnovers on the year. They've got some players over there that are really outstanding. Keep your eye on number 7, Sam Petway, great at free safety. And also got P. Ryan on the outside. They're kind of young. Trey Wookie, youngster up there. You got Forbes and Pearsall and Tiff Lyons on the outside. And 2nd and 8 as you look at P. Ryan, Petway there, 3 interceptions and 89 tackles on the year. On the right side is Towner with his first touch, and he gets out to the 35-yard line. And Vic Lockett, we've talked about this in previous St. Paul's games. Coach Mask likes to get his best players in wherever he can.
Yeah, I talked to him prior to the game, and he said, hey, Towner's going to play on offense, and he wants to get him at least 10 touches. So he's doing what he has to do to get the best 11 on the field and get the ball in their hands.
Just his 9th carry of the year.
Yeah, he's got some big guys in right now. They got a short yardage situation. Slater's in, Williams is in. These are guys that are great defensive players. They're going to do everything they can to get this yard.
Yeah, they bring Jeb Boudreaux in at linebacker as well.
Well, that's what high school football is about, getting the best 11 on the field and maximizing that talent. No one does it better than I've seen this year than Coach Mask.
Yeah, Trey Williams, the linebacker. They are. Pat Greenwood, somebody got a whistle here?
Yeah, well, the thing is, when that play started, I heard it, and it came from the St. Paul side. I don't want to say it was a student section, or I have no idea where it came from, but that's one of the things the head referees going over there to make sure that whoever did it doesn't do it again. But that's what the holdup is, because I'm telling you, I mean, about 3 seconds in, I heard it. I don't know if you guys
did too, Pat. Yeah, I did, and I thought that the play was dead, and obviously, if UMS did, that's not good for them.
Well, this is a rivalry game. Let's leave it between the players to decide the score and decide the outcome. And I'd like the fans to just sit back and enjoy it unfold.
3rd and 1. Jordan Huff is the tailback. Bradley Pageant will give it to him. Pageant trying to get around to the right side, looking for the edge, and he's got it. And he's got the first down, makes a move at the 40, and he's all the way up near midfield before he's finally pushed out of bounds by Tyler Beard.
Well, there's a play. You see a combination of all his talents. He uses his speed, he uses his vision, and at the end, he uses his power just to pick up about 10 more yards now, Brennan.
He uses Trey Williams on the outside. There's the block that Williams, the all-state linebacker, playing tight end for this particular play. I mean, it's no coincidence that they run behind that guy.
Yeah, Petway over there along with Beard to push him out of bounds.
How many good things have we heard about Petway?
Wow, Coach Mask was raving about him during our recording of the pregame show.
Yeah, that's the opponent coach.
Here's Towner, doesn't take the handoff, and Bradley Pageant pushes it ahead. And told Dan Brennan he relishes when he's able to drop the shoulder running the football.
Yeah, that's the kid that looks, talk about he'd run through a brick wall. He looks for brick walls. Where's the next brick wall?
It was interesting. After the loss to Viger, Bradley Pageant, some of the others had a players-only meeting and really said, look, we're going to get this thing back on track as we start heading into the playoffs.
It's not like they had a terrible game against Viger either. They lost in double overtime. But against a very good opponent. But they knew that it was time to not lose again.
Looking to get Towner in the game some more, and they get it to him up to the 41-yard line. All throughout the game, you can contact us. If you want to send us an email, you can do it at heyguys@utv44.com, and we'll do our best to answer all of them on the air tonight. This is always a game that brings a lot of texts as well up here to the booth. We'll get a lot of fans enjoying the game, so we'll pass along some of those text messages as well.
What a gorgeous night we've had. We are 10 out of 10 this year, right?
Beautiful weather.
Football.
3rd and 1, and again, they'll bring in the big package with Slater, Williams, and Boudreaux, and they give it off to Huff, and Huff hurdles a defender and then spins to the 35-yard line, another first down.
Yeah, what UMS has got to be careful about, too, guys, is that this is a team that can, little by little, they can build the church one brick at a time, or they can just make magic happen and go 80 yards with these tailbacks.
Sure, they start singing the gospel, and they'll have everybody getting the Holy Ghost.
Hallelujah, brother. They can go.
Yeah, that's right.
Another first down for the Saints. St. Paul's averaging 32 points a game. Both their losses this year, they're 7-2 coming into this game. Both their losses here at home as a timeout called for by the Saints. Lost a game to Fairhope to open up the season, and then also lost the game that we did back in week 8 to Viger. So both losses coming here on the home
some
turf.
Very good football teams, huh, Dan?
Yeah, and the other thing is, too, that, this is a team that was at that time kind of unsettled offensively, and they've grown into who they are as the season's gone along.
See the scores from last night. Blunt, Williamson, McGill keeps rolling on. Mobile Christian, Spanish Fort, the Toros with a big win there. Also going on tonight, we got Hillcrest and Demopolis, Daphne and Bryant, LaFleur and Baker.
Bryant under the radar.
Boy.
Very good season down there.
Yeah, so many close games as well. BC Rain and Mary G. Viger and Murphy, the Mayor's Cup tonight. And keep your eye out for Murphy. This is like their playoff game tonight. That's
it for them.
Last game of the season, so they'll be playing for everything they have. Bayside and Satsuma tonight. See the rest of the game. St. Luke's, Cottage Hill, W.S. Neal and Milry.
Had a good season at St. Luke.
Fruitdale and Florala going at it. McIntosh and Washington County, big rivalry up north of here. Choctaw County and the Saint. You didn't
Not
like
being so saintly, is it?
You didn't like the Bulldog treatment, did you?
No, I thought it was kind of ironic, or worse, that you'd be throwing the little Bulldog around.
It was a stuffed Bulldog.
Yes,
it was just a stuffed.
Thank you for
just
that.
a stuffed Bulldog. We want to make sure everyone understands that.
Yeah, don't want Peter outside here making a ruckus.
So the Saints take the timeout on the first down. Not sure what the delay is here now.
I think we lost both play clocks now. I noticed one to our left.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, one was off, so since one wasn't working, they went and
turned them both off.
Well, it's more important for the offense.
Jordan Huff scrapes through a little hole, and he'll pick up a couple. Jordan Huff continuing to get stronger and stronger and more confident as the year's gone on.
Yeah, bad leg injury from last year. He lost some of this season, and coming into this year, there were a lot of questions about how well he could bounce back, and you see that a lot. But as the season's gone on, he's gotten better. We've seen him make some big runs in some big games, the Viger game in particular.
Yep.
All-time leading rusher at a school that has had a lot of good football players.
Well, he looks as close to 100% as I've seen any player come from an injury.
He'll take it again. Drop the shoulder to the 25-yard line. George Williams in on the tackle with Tyler Beard.
I think essentially, if you say what is St. Paul's, I think they're a power team, don't you, Vic? I mean,
for sure.
They like to run it. They play action off the run. They've got some speed on the outside, but they're not blessed with Willie Galt, except when you put Towner in, right?
Sure. But then the other thing, too, the few seconds I've spent around their coach, I can tell that's his philosophy.
Sure.
That's what he'd like to have.
Yeah. He's got the personnel to do it, too.
Sure. He's got two backs. He can alternate between carries, and he'll just let them carry.
3rd and 1. This time it'll be McPherson, and he'll have the first down, third down conversion on this drive for the Saints.
We've heard coaches in the past, watch McPherson, and you'll understand why I'm saying what I say. Coaches in the past saying, yeah, but we're down to a freshman at tailback, moaning about it. They're not moaning about number 2.
No, that ain't the typical freshman, is it?
No.
He had a great game. Was it last year? In this game, we saw him
UMS-Wright.
as an 8th grader.
Did he have 200 yards?
Might have. Paget going to keep it. Beard will slow him down.
And I think that's really good, even though Paget didn't get much there. Vic Lockett, for the quarterback, to keep it a few times, just to keep everybody a little on edge where they're not selling out to the tailback.
Sure,
give him a half a step next time he gets it.
Sure, that's the way Coach Mask will like it. If he can just keep it on the ground, give it to those two backs, every now and again let his quarterback carry it a little bit, just like you said, to keep the defense honest. That's his kind of night.
Yep.
Big long drive like this, eating clock, keeping the ball away from the offense.
3 receivers at the top of the screen, and this one will be to McPherson. McPherson breaks one tackle, and it'll be hit by a host of Bulldogs and drop back for a loss on the play.
Well, you say a host of Bulldogs. That was everybody, almost including the bench, and that's one thing I'm picking up on, Dan. These guys are playing together, UMS. I mean, this is a rivalry game, and, hey, I know Coach Curtis. He knows how to coach him up, and he's got that defense running to the football.
I agree.
Everybody.
Yeah, that's right. This is always an interesting game, even if you think that there's there's kind of
an unbalance between the two teams.
Yeah, in terms of speed and talent, you never know. Not in this one.
That's why they played the game.
That's it.
And Terry Curtis likes this game going to the playoffs to get his team ready for the playoffs. They're such a quality opponent to end the year. Paget fires to the near side, able to get that one complete down to the 10-yard line. Trayon Tate with his 11th catch of the season.
See, now that's what this guy's going to have to do if they're going to advance and advance and advance. I'm talking about Paget, the quarterback. There's going to be games where they're going to run into somebody that can defend the run well enough.
Sure.
Paget's going to have to make big plays.
Sure.
He made some big plays in the Spanish Fort game on 3rd down. Made a big one right there.
So they mark Tate just inside the 10, so 1st and goal. Coming up here for the Saints. Saints, as Pat talked about, next week on the road at Eufaula. And St. Paul's fans, if you're wondering, should we go there and watch the game? Yeah, go. It's a great place to see a high school game. Jordan Huff on the right side, and Huff inside the 5 and is ridden down there, but more of that power running that Dan talked about.
Yeah, and the respect of 2 of the best players in the city who know each other, no doubt, since probably, I'm not going to even say when, but Petway makes the stop, and as Huff gets up, they each pat the other on the helmet like, how's it going? You're pretty good. Yeah, you are too.
Yeah, Petway, a big corner, 6'1", 178 pounds.
Talented.
2nd and goal from the 4. Jeb Boudreaux, one of the guests in our pregame show earlier this year, sees the pitch there to Huff, and Huff steps out of bounds at the 1.
Yeah, looks like it's the half-inch line there. I thought he almost got it in there. Must have had the ball in the wrong hand. Look at the pitch here. Thought he had the corner, and stepped out right before. Ball in the right outside hand, so that doesn't count as a touchdown.
Vania Kai, great shot down there on our sidelines all year long. He's been giving us those great shots, and Paget on the sneak. And he's in for the touchdown. Impressive drive to open things up here for the Saints.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's exactly what any team would like to do. They ate the clock. I mean, heck, it's less than 5 minutes to go in this period. Yeah. And they ended with a touchdown. Big Lockett.
That's where you cap it off. You keep the ball out of the opposing offensive hand, and you hang on to it. Like you said, take it down under 5 minutes in this quarter. Kick the extra point. Let's go over and get some Gatorade and come back out.
Hayden Farr will hold as Baudet comes on for the PAT. And St. Paul's is up just 6-0 after Baudet misses the PAT. But then you get a look at the touchdown. Paget pushed it in, and the Saints have the lead. We'll see if that makes PAT comes back. Rare miss by Baudet on the extra point.
Yes, Jordan Huff jerseys available here at the concession stand, I guess, huh?
Well, you better get them early because they may be more expensive as the time goes on.
Yes, sir.
This UMS team on special teams always been so good under Terry Curtis. They have run 7 kicks back this year for touchdowns, but not this time. It's just shy of the 20. It's where the Bulldogs will start as we look at the scoring summary here for the St. Paul Saints to open up 13 plays, 75 yards. And as Dan Brennan alluded to, look how much time they took off the clock. 7 minutes before Paget punched it in for the touchdown.
Yeah, and you're going to see a lot of the guys you saw on that drive lining up again, because on certain downs and when they got closer to the goal line, they used a number of these key defenders in there on offense to give them power opportunities.
Now this UMS team, they run the football. They run it for 230 yards a game, but St. Paul's is a team that only gives up 93, and so they'll look to go on the air. And this one way overthrown as Roach looking to go down the far side for Pearsall.
Jalen Thompson in great position there. It almost looked like he was running the route. Sort of cut him off there.
There's the starting lineups for the Bulldogs. Gunnar Roach, the quarterback, 935 yards on the year, 10 touchdowns, just 1 interception, but everything goes through Troy Dixon, the sophomore, 1,300 yards that Dan Brennan talked about, 15 rushing touchdowns. He's caught one as well, and he's run back 3 kicks. And up front, Gus Addison, the leader of that offensive line, 6'1", 251-pound senior, plays on the right side. Bulldogs looking to throw again. Gunnar Roach looking over the middle, and he's got that one in traffic to the 30-yard line. So Terry Curtis comes out and gets things going with the completion to DeAndre Smith. This UMS defense, boy, have they got some players over there. I'm sorry, the St. Paul's defense, they really do. 40 takeaways on the year. That's 4.4 a game. You've got Boudreaux and Williams, Carmichael and Quinley in the middle, Thompson, Towner, Little, and Green in the secondary, and Holloway, Slater, and Dickerson. They can flat out get after a quarterback.
Yeah, I've got a thought or two about what UMS is doing on this opening drive. I'll share with you here in just a moment.
3rd and 1. Dixon will get his first touch, but there was movement before the start. And 3rd and 1. Will become a first down for UMS.
I thought it was against the offense, but it's defensive player offside.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I thought it was movement on the offense.
I did too, but then the first signal over there from the far side official indicated the other. But so now it is 3rd and 6.
Yeah, and see, UMS, yeah, they run the ball very effectively, well over 200 yards a game, but that's been in the 4A classification. They'd like to run the football against
5-yard penalty replay, 3rd down.
St. Paul's as well, but they may have to do it a little differently in terms of formation, Jim and Vic. And what they may do is spread them out, make the defense spread out a little bit, and let Dixon find some creases that way.
Gunnar Roach, 6'2", 188-pound junior quarterback, has some time, comes to the near side. He's able to get that one off complete to T.J. Dixon, his 43rd catch of the year, and he's got a first down for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, right away, I was thinking the same thing. You know, maybe they're trying to spread them out, trying to break some tendencies and do what they don't normally do, because that's what I think they're going to have to do to stay in this football game.
I think offensively, they just can't line up and push this team around like maybe they've been able to in their classification. So they do want to run it, Jim, but they may do it in a different way.
UMS ranked number 3 in 4A, 8-1 on the year, region champs. Only loss on the year came in opening week to McGill-Tulane, who is now 10-0 heading into the playoffs. And the Bulldogs will take a timeout here with just 3:29 left in the first quarter.
Roach is just a junior, by the way. Talented guy. Got a little something on that throw.
Didn't he play a little bit last year? Or was he the man last year? I thought he was. So I'm sure Coach Curtis feels a lot comfortable about him. He's got a whole season on his belt.
You're right.
Got him out here this year.
He does.
Playoffs start next week. Here's Region 1 and 3 playing in 5A. Carroll, Spanish Fort, Valley and Viger, St. Paul's, as we said, going on the road to take on Eufaula, LaFleur, Benjamin Russell, Briarwood Christian, and Jackson, Sylacauga, and Demopolis. Saraland will go to Chilton County and Greenville and Homewood matchup. 4A, St. James is who the Bulldogs get at home next week. Charles Henderson takes on Thomasville, Clark County, and Dadeville, and Andalusia and Beauregard.
By the way, congratulations to Coach Kelly, Jeff Kelly, and Saraland getting in the playoffs.
Yep.
And that's a big step for that program. And
second or third year playing ball.
this would be
Stump damn Dran Brennan.
Yeah.
Write it down.
It's probably their 4th.
Oh, okay. Time has flown.
Whoa.
Goes to Troy Dixon, and he gets stuffed there.
He thought he saw something inside, but Big 88 say, no, it's just me.
That's what he saw.
There's a lot of them to see.
Yeah, Brian Slater, Vic, 6 feet,
Halloween night,
262 now, senior.
You're expecting a little kid at the door, and it's Brian Slater. Just give him the whole bowl of candy and be done with it.
Then give him a Coke and a smile.
Yeah.
They'll give him 1, 2nd and 9. Roach scrambles, now wants to pull it down. He's hit, still on his feet, and dropped all the way back inside the 30. Slater, Boudreaux, and Carmichael all back there.
St. Paul's does not just have size on their defensive line. What you all need to realize is they've got strength. These kids are strong. They work hard in the weight room. So when you're talking about Slater and Holloway, you know.
And it helps he's going against a 184-pound left guard there in Charlie Hahn. So
They like their matchup.
sure, they'll take their chips, huh?
Yeah, they will.
Holloway with 10 sacks on the season coming in tonight. Now 3rd and 14 for the Bulldogs. Roach scrambling a bit. Now he's going to pull it down and try to take off. Gets around Williams, and out across the 40, out to the 44-yard line. Going to be a yard short of the first down, but a great run there by Gunnar Roach.
Yeah, he put the quicks on Trey Williams there. Trey's going to remember that and probably come back and say, hey, not next time. But good play by Roach to get the ball out to, you know, where now Coach Curtis can think about it.
He picks up 13.5 here. They needed 14.
The referee gets taken out on that one.
It's an excellent idea to run in the opposite direction of Trey Williams. I don't know if it was great athleticism or just good thinking or both.
I'll give him the athleticism on that one because he certainly put a move on him, put the start and stop on him, and Williams just reached for air on that one.
With Williams, it's very necessary.
And that's rare.
Yes.
Let's see how
rare
short,
air grab.
how short he is here. Let's see if Terry Curtis decides to go for it here or punt it away. Steve Mask, first-year coach of the Saints. And Terry Curtis, wow, just it's amazing the numbers that Terry Curtis has put up there. 189 and 46 at UMS, of course, coached at Sean Murphy as well. 82 and 9 in region play for the Bulldogs, and UMS will go for it. They bring in the big package in behind Gunnar Roach. Quick snap, and Gunnar Roach goes ahead, and he's going to have the first down. Boy, it didn't even look like all of UMS was expecting that one to come that quickly.
I don't know that everybody was set, but apparently they were.
Well, that's the best way to do it. You know, the offense does not have to wait for the defense to get set. And, hey, get up to the line, snap the football on first sound, and go for it.
That's a big conversion there for the Bulldogs to keep this drive alive. As Gunnar Roach picked up that 13.5 on the third and broken play.
Good job by him to get it in position where they could even make a decision to go for it.
High snap. Roach pulls it down and then gives it off to Dixon, and a high snap. Had the timing off on that play from the get-go, and Holloway is in there. Hey, you can find us on Facebook. Just search UTV44 High School Football Game of the Week. Jared Kihas will have all the playoff information on there as well. We're at St. Paul's E. Delaney Memorial Stadium here on Old Shell Road. UMS and St. Paul's doing battle. This has been a series that's been very even. St. Paul's has won the last two. UMS, the seniors, trying to get a win over the rival before the playoffs start next week. Roach on the right side, strong arms. This one tipped and nearly intercepted.
You know, one thing that is definitely noticeable now, they're trying to throw it around the yard here a little bit and spread things out, but there's not a lot of separation between the Bulldog receivers and the Saint defenders. It's not like they're finding a lot of empty space down there.
Yeah, Coach Curtis, you know, he knows he's got to break his tendencies in this game. You just can't come out and say, hey, we do what we do and we are who we are.
You know what else, Vic, too? And also, you come out and do this, and now your next playoff opponent, the other playoff opponents see this video, and they're like, oh, well, now we got to prepare for this as well.
Sure.
If you do it well.
Yep, 3rd and 15. Blitz coming, Boudreaux in there, wraps him up, but still, oh, they're going to say he's down. Jeb Boudreaux came on the blitz and had Gunnar Roach right away. Watch him shoot the gap here. Roach tried to get it away, but the knee was down. Good call by the official.
Yes. Excellent officiating right there, and that's a kid who puts his helmet on for a reason, man. He loves to play, and a football player that achieves all he can on the field.
Yeah, and in the classroom.
Yes.
6-0 at the end of the first. Here between UMS and St. Paul's. Punt coming up for the Bulldogs, and the Saints will get it back to start the second quarter. St. Paul's band having a big time here tonight. Their team on top by a score of 6-0 and about to get the football back here. Christian Pearsall with an end-over-end punt. And Towner will take the high hop at the 30. Towner with a great speed. Out to about the 38-yard line.
UMS do a good job of surrounding that great speed, not giving him any alleys or spaces to get around and get loose.
Yeah, it's rare you see a UMS team not win the special teams battle. I want to thank our presenting sponsor. Been here all year long and will be with us throughout the playoffs, which start next week. Whataburger and Pat Greenwood.
Offensive meeting Wasn't very long. They said, look, what you did in that first drive, do it again. They were basically running downhill that entire first offensive series, so don't expect a lot of changes this time around.
Paget throws this one behind his intended receiver, McPherson, to the Saints bench.
McPherson may be their best receiver, and he's obviously a running back, but that sort of talent he has is just a freshman. There's some miscommunication with Paget and McPherson on that one, but he is really a weapon out wide.
2nd and 10 for the Saints. They'll put Jordan Huff back next to Paget again, and they'll watch their quarterback keep it. He'll gain 1.
Yeah, way to stay at home. I think it was P. Ryan, was it?
It was.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. You know, when that quarterback's going to keep it every now and then, and Paget can hurt you a little bit.
See the night Huff's had so far. You talked about P. Ryan making the play. Boy, have we seen some undersized outside linebackers at UMS show up and have great games on Friday night over the years, Dan Brennan?
Like, give the kids some pot roast, you know? But they play.
Hey, I bet you Coach Curtis ain't going to put you out there unless you're going to give 100%. I just know that.
Paget, play action, now wants to go over the middle, looking for Towner. What a throw and what a catch! 62-yard touchdown strike. Wow, what a bullet from Paget, and Towner turns his head and it hits him in the hands, and it's 6 more for the Saints.
Well, that's what he can do when you put him on offense. And what about hand-eye coordination, guys? I mean, in a zip, that football was right there. He catches it like it's a handoff, turns on his jets, and Dan, is anybody going to catch him?
No, sir. Wow. That was sweet. That's just a good-looking play by a couple of guys. Make a great play.
Excellent execution. That's all you could say on that one, huh? I mean, it stunned the crowd.
Now the Saints going to go for 2 after missing the PAT to try to get that point back.
It was so fast, it just looked like a shot of energy was hitting this crowd as well.
Slater, Boudreaux, and Williams all in to help. Paget looking to pass, rolls out to the back of the end zone, and that's going to be incomplete, so it's 12-0. And the Saints 0 for 2 in the PATs, but they lead it by 12 after the quick strike. Paget with a great throw to Towner, the speediest guy in the state. Dick Lockett talked about Kylan Towner for a reason on the pregame show. Then you said Coach Mask wanted to get him 10 touches.
Well, we've got, what, 5 so far?
Ooh, boy, he's
one touchdown, he'll take that.
That was a great throw and catch.
Curtis is saying, why don't you limit it to 6? Do us all a favor.
Wildrot gets a lot of leg and sends Petway back into the end zone, and the Bulldogs will start at the 20.
Well, Dan, you were talking about they could build a church 1 brick at a time.
Or, yeah.
They could sing the gospel and everybody gets the Holy Ghost. And, hey, looks like this crowd got it when that quick snap, quick strike there hit. And I'll tell you what.
You're right, Vic. Thanks for reminding me of that. We've seen 2 exactly. That's what we're talking about. The drive that ate up most of the quarter.
7 minutes, yeah.
And another one that just was in the blink of an eye. You got one of the fastest guys in the state that's suddenly in the end zone handing the ball to an official.
The Bulldogs from their own 20. Ball's loose as Dixon and Roach have some miscommunication there.
And the quarterback decided a little late he wanted to pull it out, and then he pulled it by the tail of the ball, and that's just not enough to hold on to. It slips out on the ground.
Bulldog offensive line is having their troubles, though, keeping St. Paul's from penetrating, and that's putting a lot of pressure on all the decisions that Roach makes back there. You know, they've won their games, most of them very handily. And so they come into this game with some confidence, but they just haven't had to match up against a team like this since the McGill game early.
Well, they've got some adversity to deal with now.
Roach looking to the near side and able to get that one off and complete. There's a flag at the 30 and a catch by Dixon.
Tremendous catch by Dixon as he was being harassed on the near sideline by Green. And I think the penalty may be on Jalen Green, the cornerback.
And here's the harassment you see Roach is going through as well to deliver it.
It's a great catch. 2nd to 9 and 44th on the year for Dixon. He was.
I'm trying to sort it out now and get the yardage correct.
To Roach.
I think this is going against UMS. It is.
Oh.
Pass interference on the defense.
Oh, no, they're just going to.
That's a 15-yard penalty from the previous spot and an automatic first down.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, march it off instead. You know, one thing that Roach is dealing with, which I'm sure he probably has not had to deal with since they've run the ball so well during the year, he is dealing with a lot of pressure in his face.
True.
His throwing percentage, I'm impressed with how well he's doing so far with people up in his grill, but his throwing percentage has been excellent on the year, 65%. It's going to be a tough chore to match that tonight.
1st and 10. Dixon now, he'll pitch it back to his brother and wants to go around the far side, and he's looking for a block downfield, makes a move at the 40, and he's going to have a UMS first down up to the 45-yard line.
Well, I think they may call some holding back here, but
on the edge, I think they might have been holding Williams on the far side.
Play would have gained a lot of yardage if Colin Towner hadn't adjusted to it and got back over there with that speed. He's slowing down right there. He'll let his mates come over and help him out. Yeah, this is the sort of thing Coach Curtis knows he's up against. He's going to have to be unconventional. He's not going to be usual.
That's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay first down.
Pass it when he doesn't really want to pass it. And put a little trickeration in here, as they like to say.
They've got to do exactly what St. Paul's doesn't have to do.
Right.
St. Paul's can run their stuff. UMS-Wright tonight, pretty evident to us. They've got to do things that are out of tendency to try and equalize things out here on the football field tonight.
And he wants to try to get it equal before it gets totally out of whack and unequal.
Right.
You know, he's looking at a 12-point deficit at this point, so he don't want him to totally get away.
1st and 16 for the Bulldogs. Going to Roach on the draw. Roach with a big hit to the 31-yard line.
Yeah, good call there, just to keep the defense honest. Nothing breaks a defense down than a running quarterback off of a pass or scrambling around.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a good bit of that quarterback draw where Roach is, the play is for him. He hasn't run it a lot this year, but again, he hasn't had to. Tonight, different story.
Sure.
Picked up 5, 2nd and 11. This UMS team, big win of their season was week 3 at Thomasville, 49-42. And another penalty, TJ Dixon.
He thought it was on 1, but it was on 7.
Definitely early departure. Totally uncharacteristic of a Coach Curtis coach team, as I see here, with the mental mistakes. But I'm certain they'll get these corrected and get settled down and remember, hey, they're playing against their guys across the street. They want to beat them and play hard.
Yeah, one thing about the Bulldogs, too, they've had a lot of guys out.
Or they're banged up.
They're banged up. They've had a staph infection. They've had mononucleosis. The regular football injuries that come along with playing the game. So, you know, they're trying to get healthy as they get into the playoffs and get everybody back in line.
2nd and 16. Roach again wants to pull it down on the draw, and he's got a lot of red jerseys coming at him, and Williams is there, the first one, with Xavier Carmichael to help finish him off, and Jalen Green adds to the pile at the end, and Trey Williams, the outstanding junior linebacker.
Junior.
Yeah, he gets in his hip pocket there, and you ain't going to just outrun him to the edge. He gets over there and just wants to sling him around a little bit, too, and let him know, hey, I'm going to be here all night, brother.
He looks like a junior at name your SEC school. A junior in high school.
Third and 15. Boudreaux showing blitz. Roach looking on the far side, heaves it up, and that one nearly intercepted.
Yeah, poor Roach, he's just under all kind of duress. Jared Holloway just slinging guys all over the place and getting back there. And then to add insult to injury, they send Boudreaux on a blitz there.
Making life miserable for that kid tonight.
Sure. They've got the raid out for Roach.
Jalen.
You do.
Thompson was back there. Penalty against UMS will be declined, and the Bulldogs will have to punt again, and Towner will stand right around midfield to take the punt from Pearsall.
Yeah, they're going to have an excellent field position. And Sure don't want Colin Towner to get a corner there.
And kicks this one out of bounds, way away from Towner. So great field position. Wow, this is going to be at the 41-yard line
Well, that's
of the
better
Bulldogs.
than a touchdown, Jim. I'll take that any day.
Terry Curtis in his 14th season at UMS, as we have our encore rehabilitation trivia question. Who did he replace after this? Should be the 1988 season. Who did Terry Curtis replace at UMS? I mean, it just, you know, since we've been doing this, there's been one coach at UMS. It's been TC. But who did he replace?
1998 season.
1998, no, at the 1998 season, correct.
That is correct.
I think I know that one.
I thought you would.
I know that one.
I thought you would.
Dan was like 86. I wouldn't know, but certainly 90.
I wouldn't bet against him knowing who it was in 86. I wouldn't bet against that.
I got to town in 95, and I didn't just study up on Mobile the whole time I was living my life.
Well, I thought this was the pinnacle of your career, and you were, you know, doing your pre-homework to get here.
Pick up a one.
I'm glad to be here.
Second.
You may be
9.
overselling it a bit.
I'm sure everybody here, including myself, is glad to have you here myself.
Thanks,
friend. Great transplant.
On the right side, it's going to come back for a hold as McPherson down to the 30.
He's fun to watch, though, isn't he? Ooh, goodness gracious.
Between the tackles or around the end, he can hurt you both ways.
Gosh.
Oh, block below the waist against UMS.
So the run stays, and you add on.
Wait a minute. That signal there just doesn't look correct. Is that what the call is? They're on our defense.
Let's look here at George Williams, the linebacker.
He's just taking on a block there best he can. He's outweighed probably by 40 pounds. So
Well, if it's on Williams, I don't...
Have an illegal block against the defense. That's a 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
well, that's a first for me.
Yeah, well, it might not have been Williams either. Maybe that wasn't, because Williams did not appear to be in violation.
And certainly no defensive player is blocking ever on any play. So, and there was a conversation with him, so he must have had some infraction that...
Well, that's a costly penalty. It's from the spot at the end of the run.
Yeah.
Dan, you got your rule book in your back pocket tonight?
Left it in the Mercedes. I mean the other car.
At the 20, and here's McPherson on the right side. Gritty down to the 12-yard line, maybe the 13.
He is gritty, especially for a freshman, and we got our notice on him last year. Jim, you were talking about that as an 8th grader. That's the time that Huff was gone.
Right.
Huff was hurt, and he would not play anymore the rest of the season, so they went into the playoffs that way. But we were like, oh, wow, we got something here.
You were concerned for the young man's safety against Viger, against that Viger defense.
Right. I was like, this kid should be studying for his spelling bee.
He'll pitch to Jordan Huff. Huff on the right side. Now he turns the corner, and Huff is in for the touchdown.
They're going to chase that 2 points yet again, Jim.
No, I think they're going to go for one on this one. He raised the one finger.
Okay.
Kicking conversion.
They'll bring out Bidet, but Jordan Huff with the 13-yard touchdown run here.
At this point, the way they're moving the football, I don't think they need to go for any twos. It's just going to be there.
They really were not in need of that short field the way they're playing, but they got it and they used it.
Bidet makes it 19-0. All St. Paul's. They're trying to make it 3 straight wins over their rival. And they're off to a good start. 6 minutes to go in the first half. Jordan Huff with a touchdown here. Saints been impressive to start this one. They've moved the ball at will.
Yeah, they have. I mean, they've come out ready to play. You can see that they've got some obvious physical advantages, and they're using them.
Bidet to kick. The Bulldogs, as we talked about, the 7 kicks they've taken back for touchdowns, but they will not get a chance here. As Petway into the end zone. Such a weapon when you can kick it into the end zone against a team that will take it back to the house where they have the chance.
Yeah, and a team that on a game like this, they need those opportunities. They need every shot they can have to make something big happen, and special teams might be that area rather than the line of scrimmage.
Just 4 plays, 41 yards, minute and a half for that last scoring drive. Birthday boy.
Terry Curtis really harping on his team's mental mistakes. You had the hold the last drive. You had the offside the last drive. He knows against a team like St. Paul's, you can't have those type of mistakes. And he was really harping on him during that last drive. You got to stop that, fellas, if we're going to get back in it.
Terry Curtis, one of the rare coaches that doesn't wear the headset to communicate with the booth. He's just down there on the sidelines, and the guys upstairs in the booth probably glad TC doesn't have a headset on right now, looking at that.
He doesn't have the headset, but he's the head guy.
No, Rusty.
Hamilton Phillips checks in the backfield, and he'll take the handoff. And he'll get just back to the line of scrimmage, nothing more.
Good athleticism to do that, because he had him dead to rights, 5 yards deep.
Another flag over there on the far side of the field. Just with a face mask against the Saints.
At this point, Terry's saying, you can grab my guys' face masks every play if you wish.
That gets us some positive yards.
We got to cross midfield.
It is 15. And a first down for the Bulldogs.
There's still going to be lessons learned in this, no matter what way this game goes here for UMS, because heading into the playoffs, you know, you're going to have some adversity too. You're going to be on the road, sometimes a longer road trip. You don't know the way calls are going to go. You don't know when the ball's going to bounce the wrong way. See who keeps playing hard.
Dixon will pick up one here.
I saw some movement up front, but apparently not.
Yeah, I thought so too, Vic.
And you know, I probably misspoke, because I think they're all going to play hard. That's really not the point, but play with focus, continue to not get down. This rivalry is going to fuel them to give it everything they got.
They've done a good job to bottle up Troy Dixon thus far.
Sure have, so far, yes.
We got one there, and now the Bulldogs will just have Phillips in the backfield, and he'll take the give. Phillips looking on the right side, and Carmichael with a great open field tackle.
Yeah, he just came right up there and fielded right outside just the way he's supposed to. He's a kid heading to Duke, isn't he, Dan? And
he is.
Man, his father actually was a great recruit with me going to the University of Alabama, but ended up playing linebacker at Ole Miss, was a great tailback at Demopolis. I had a good couple of conversations with him earlier this week.
And don't forget, he's also just a junior. So you got he and Williams both coming back there next year for the Saints.
Scary.
Whew. So he's heading up to the Duke-Clemson game this weekend. See his future school compete against one of my old teammates, Dabo Sweeney.
Roach looking, fires across the middle into traffic, and it's incomplete.
Yeah, Jared
trying to get to the tight end, Thomas Harmon.
Holloway just, I don't know what happened there. And he kind of engaged that guy there, and he did not come up. He came up hurt. But prayerfully, he's A-OK there.
You had a situation where
DeAndre
Smith is trying to block on Holloway, and Holloway just overpowers him, and in doing so puts pressure on that right knee, it looks like, and doesn't look good.
DeAndre Smith, 158 pounds. Holloway, 275. Pat Greenwood.
And fellas, I don't know if we got the replay up there, but DeAndre Smith, I mean, it wasn't anything he did. He just got flat run over right there. And I mean, Holloway's a player. We've seen it before. Hey, go back to that chop block that we were talking about earlier. They what was called was a defensive chop block. That's not the first time first time we've had that. Had it earlier in the year. Any player that's engaged, somebody else can't go at that player's knee, whether it's defense, whether it's offense. That's why we got that chop block call earlier in the game.
Right. The replay, though, that we saw did not bear out that on what we saw. Right. It may have happened, but it wasn't on camera.
Well, I do thank you for the clarification, because certainly I was confused there, Greeny.
So Pearsall knocks this one out of bounds, and the Saints will take over at the 37 at the end of tonight's game. You can log on to UTV44.com and vote for the player of the game. At halftime, we'll hear from the player of the game, Jason Smith, last week from McGill-Toolen, and took part in 7 touchdowns, 4 rushing, 3 passing, and he got 56% of the votes, and Dan Brennan thought that was he just thought that was atrocious.
Well, I said, come on now. Did you watch the game? He should have got them all, really, but it's good that everybody can get their votes in, and we love it.
Jordan Huff dances around, stays on his feet, and finally gets knocked out of bounds by Williams at the 46-yard line.
A great little run by him inside tight space there. He just sort of negotiated around there. Hey, he said keeps his feet moving and break a tackle here and there, then goes up the field, get some more positive yardage.
Yeah, like the sound coming from the sideline as well. You can hear that one nice and crisply.
Better them than us.
I was about to ask, would you guys like to participate?
Better them than us.
No.
That is a great sound, guys. You just don't know.
Well, I know it's a great sound, just not when it's coming at me, as Paget picks up a first down to the 40. Oh, he likes to make those sounds, Dan Brennan. Bradley Paget.
Yeah, he does. He's not afraid of contact, but he also finds a little space here. And again, this is a design run for Paget. You see him cut it back a couple of times right there.
Paget was the guest on our pregame show.
Yeah, two great sounds of football. The popping of helmets hidden together, and you've heard this and probably didn't even know what it was. Click, clack. That's those cleats as we heading out to the, the tunnel.
The clip clop.
Yeah. You know it's time. No practice.
How about when the cheerleader says, "I'll see you after the game"? You didn't like that one? That's a good sound.
We won't discuss that one.
I think it's a good sound.
Paget rolling. And now he's got the first down inside the 30. Paget wanted to throw downfield, instead pulled it down and took off running.
Yeah, they sent everybody long and just kind of stretched that defense out. And then Paget says, "Okay, you got him covered. I'm good with that. Off I go. Watch him."
Good decision making.
I tell you, nothing breaks a defense's back other than having a quarterback scrambling around back there.
Well, this game feeling dangerously close, like it's getting out of hand quickly.
Well, I think we just have a disparity, especially along the line of scrimmage, Jim. It's just, pretty obvious.
Jordan Huff takes a big hit, but bounces off and
then
keeps
there's
going
that.
to the 20. Yeah.
But I tell you guys, I really like the way this UMS defense is. You're getting the 10 and 9 people to the football every play.
Yeah, I mean, the
just
effort is there.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the way Coach Curtis is going to coach it, or you're just not going to get on the football field for him.
Well, they're not going to find St. Paul's in the 4A playoffs as far as they can keep on going and keep on going. They can cross state lines.
Right. You're not going to find a team that looks like this.
No.
In 4A. 9-yard pickup for Jordan Huff after he had the big collision and bounced off Thomas Harmon. We'll get it again. Huff to the outside with a straight arm, and he's got a first down inside the 15. Terry Curtis brought it up in the pregame show, Dan, that he said, this was always such an intense rivalry. He said, but it's kind of changed a little bit because both teams feel they have more. And I made the joke. I said, well, TC, you came over here to UMS and won 4 state championships. When you got here, the goal was to beat St. Paul's, and then you have a St. Paul's team that wins the state championship a few years ago, and so now both of them realize, hey, there's more than just the Battle of Old Shell Road out there.
And I really think, that Terry was the first one to realize that and to factor that in. And then he started winning those state championships. And then as UMS St. Paul's got better, they started thinking the same way.
This one dropped by McPherson. We are at Delaney Memorial Stadium, week 10 of the high school football season here on UTV 44. Pat Greenwood's on the sideline. Vic Lockett, Dan Brennan, Jim Cox, and Jared Kihas down in the truck bringing you this one tonight.
Greenwood does the early news. Then he does the noon news. It's his birthday. He spent the afternoon with mates over at Chuck E. Cheese. He shows up with a little confetti.
He had a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese and didn't invite us.
I didn't even get my nap today, fellas.
Like a marathon.
Hey, I didn't get the pizza invite. I'm always sad.
Thing is, as I always say, I could work for a living too. So, if my birthday spent at a football field, it's not a bad gig, is it?
No, that was the first incompletion by Paget tonight. Yeah, we could tell Greenwood didn't get the nap because he had this 5-gallon bucket of energy drink that he had his head stuck in the pregame show. So this one goes to McPherson, and McPherson going to be hit, breaks a tackle. Sometimes you just see those running backs who play bigger than they are. 5'8", 160. He plays bigger than that.
Well, you can't measure the heart. That's one thing you'll see with these little guys. If they're on the football field, they've got big hearts, and that's certainly one right there.
Hamilton Phillips comes over, tries to wrap him up, and McPherson slips through that one.
Boy, UMS played that beautifully right there. Stretched that thing out, forced him to the sidelines, and didn't give him an inch.
Yeah, big loss on the play here. So all the way back to the 25-yard line. They'll give it to Jordan Huff. Huff breaks it upside, inside, and into the end zone for the touchdown. 25-yard touchdown run for Jordan Huff.
Yeah, 3rd and 25. You hand it to that young man, you say, hey, no problem. You know, just great football play and reading off his blocks. Kind of caught the defense thinking they were going to pass.
Yep.
And you got that running back there. You can't leave out of there until the quarterback passes him.
UMS is defending, you know, 3rd down and
20,
long like
yeah.
you should, but it allows a great running back a little too much space.
You got to read your keys. As a linebacker, you cannot take off back in your drop until that quarterback passes that last back. Right there, caught him kind of slipping and anticipating the play, and here comes the draw for the touchdown.
Saints take a timeout before the extra point, and I think they're going to now go for 2. Pat Greenwood?
Yeah, that's what Coach was yelling for the offense. So I think he, gets out there and says, you know what, I'll try to put 2 more on the board right now. I don't know if that's going to make a difference.
Yeah, I agree. It's academic now.
Well, it's a 4-score game at this point. So we'll try to make it get up to 27.
Yeah, going for 2, I don't think Pat needs to break in on NBC 15 breaking news for it. So.
And we don't have any breaking weather again tonight, so we're in good shape.
Well, I tell you what, it's breaking off good. God has really blessed us this week, and this is one of those times that you love to live in Mobile, and probably why the great Dan Brennan relocated here.
Well, again,
that when the radio station backed up the Brinks truck when he was, up in Georgia, and they said, "Can we get him down here?" And he said, "Yes."
Okay.
No matter what the weather is, I'll be inside.
I just like the old homes on government. I'll be honest with you, I was romanticized by the whole idea.
How many of those do you own?
How about Steve Mask? Let's start at 0 and not move. Steve Mask has been relocated down here. He's been a defensive coordinator for 3 years, now the head guy, and
he, like a lot of us, got here and said,
kind of like it. Kind of like it, yeah.
He said, "There's no."
I hope the natives know what they've got, because it's pretty sweet.
So they'll go for 2. There goes Carmichael. There goes Slater. And they'll give it off. Jordan Huff hit in the backfield. UMS still very pridefully comes up with a stop there as Petway came in to finish off Huff, but it's 25-0. With a minute 40 to go here in the second.
That's a word that's going to come into play a lot of this game. Vic Lockett is pride for the UMS-Wright Bulldogs. And I think they have played with pride, regardless of what you see on the scoreboard. It's a very good St. Paul's team.
Well,
higher classification. And
you just get out-athleted, if that's a word.
Yeah.
You just see, the talent that is there for St. Paul. And don't forget, this is, there's always a difference in classifications when you obviously you see difference between levels, but 4A to 5A is a big jump. You look at the teams that you see in 4A.
Well, especially around here.
Yeah.
The teams that UMS has got to line up with week in, week out do not resemble the teams that St. Paul's has to play in terms of Vigors, Spanish Fort, and even, Faith Academy's got some talent, and LaFleur, of course, is also in the playoffs again.
Williamson,
Williamson, good point. So UMS does not have to go up against groups like that during the season. St. Paul's does. They're equipped for the fight, and it's showing up tonight.
The one thing you'll see out of the Coach Curtis team, and you just talk about it, the effort is there.
Yes.
And the coaching's there. You've seen some uncharacteristically penalties, but I'm sure they'll get those corrected as the game goes on.
And Baudet continues.
He's hamstringing it.
That's actually Wildrot continues to bang those into the end zone and does that. Jordan Huff at 100 yards in the first half exactly with a couple of touchdowns. And going back to that point, I think that's also why you see Terry Curtis really, he opens the season every year against McGill. Mm-hmm. That's a 4A team going up against a 6A team, and not just a 6A team, a very good 6A team. And Terry Curtis is always thinking about the playoffs. What do I need to do all year to get my team ready for the postseason?
The one season, several seasons back, they opened against Hoover.
Yep.
And they showed up in a bus and they left in an ambulance, right? But they played.
It's the Champions Challenge.
Exactly. But they played. And they competed.
Gunnar Roach fires this one to the far side, and it's underthrown, and it's picked off. 41st takeaway on the season, and the 3rd interception for Jalen Thompson this year.
Got his head around, as you'll see. Went up and got the football at his highest point. And he comes down with it. The offensive guy had to turn into a defensive guy, and just wasn't enough there.
Right at midfield for the Saints. Jalen Thompson, 3rd pick on the year. Boy, that is 41 takeaways this season. They came in averaging 4.4 takeaways per game.
Incredible. You got it, I want it.
Yeah, and we saw it firsthand in that Spanish Fort game. When they won on the hill with the 5 interceptions.
That padded the stats a little bit.
Kylan Towner on the end around, has a bit of a gap, and right up the middle, and Towner breaks a tackle, cuts it back, and he's caught from behind at the 4-yard line.
I don't want to
46
say,
yards.
Jim, I disagree. I don't know about caught from behind, but definitely from the side. He had one of his mates there slow him down, because otherwise you don't catch Towner from behind. Great play and great effort by UMS just to save the touchdown, because, you know, as Coach Stallings liked to say, from where I was sitting, I thought he was going to score. And he's never said at a football game, remember that.
So 1st and goal for the Saints after the 48-yard pickup officially for Towner. Jordan Huff looking for his 3rd touchdown of the first half, and he's got it.
Made a good cut there to stick his foot in the ground. He saw the hole a little bit more over the A-gap, so he says, I'll go in here and stick my head in, touchdown.
Towner, really, as we said, he hadn't had all that many touches, you know, running the football. Always you'd see him out there split out sometimes. He had 3 catches on the year, 8, and now, like we talked about, teams having to prepare for you, the playoffs. Eufaula is going to get this game film, and they're going to not like seeing number 1 line up offensively.
No.
The Saints will take another timeout here.
Well, usually when you have a great player like that comes in and he's usually going to get the football, the entire defense starts recognizing and starts shouting it to each other. And he's in the game, number 1's in the game. So you try to keep an eye out for that, and I'm certain those teams down the line will be prepared to do such.
But they've got so many players that you can use them as a decoy.
And that's probably what Coach Mass will do. You're absolutely right.
You've got 2, 23, and you can have the big guy at tight end and do, you know, fake to Towner and roll and toss it to Trey Williams and watch him.
You can do a myriad of things.
You can.
So you just got to play sound defense back to that, right?
Yeah, and this is a guy, Coach Mask, who clearly knows
where
his good guys are,
sure.
where his most talented guys are, and he's going to get them on the field.
Yeah, I like the way this guy handles it, and I like the way he uses his talent. He's getting the best out of what he's got. He knows how to coach football.
Bidet on for the point after. And he's got it. And it's 32-0 at the half. Let's give you some other scores to pass along. Murphy leads Viger 21-14 at the half. Foley leads Theodore 24-7. Saraland over Laverne 31-6. Fairhope 28-6. They lead Andalusia. Sweetwater and T.R. Miller. It's a battle up there, 14-7. Sweetwater with the lead. Bayside Academy over Satsuma 27-0. MGM leads BC Reigns 7-6. St. Luke's on top of Cottage Hill 14-7. Citronelle leads Gulf Shores 7-0. And Daphne leads Bryant 21-8. Baker over LaFleur 7-0.
Hey, speaking of Daphne, Coach Glenn Vickery.
Yep.
Talk about his procedure on Monday.
Yep, everything went well, and he was
good news.
Recovering, still up in Birmingham, I believe. They expect him to be there 8 days.
8 days total.
Yep.
Right.
And Wildrop sends this one again into the end zone with 55 seconds left. That was funny. This is just a little peek behind the curtain here. I had sent Coach Vic a text, and he texted me when he was on the way to the hospital, and he said, Jim, I'll be fine. You just keep Brennan in line.
Is that right?
That's exactly what the text said.
He doesn't know how big a job that is, does he, Cox?
So, I mean, so it just tells you the spirit that Glenn Vickery was in. Want to thank some of our sponsors, including Encore Rehabilitation, Paige Plash, and all the fine folks there. Also, Greer's, longtime sponsor of high school football, and Advanced Collision.
They've stepped up big this year, Advanced Collision.
Absolutely. They've sponsored, they fix cars, they bring cakes.
They bring
T-shirts.
Yeah,
barbecue
T-shirts.
and
cook for us, fried some fish up, and
He's looking for some new family members, isn't he?
Yeah, he brought the cake. We saw the cake the other night, and you know, the crew, there's a big divide between the crew and the people that get here and work harder than us who just show up.
Yeah.
You know,
well, it's a divide we like.
We didn't get any part of the cake.
Nor did we deserve it, probably,
no, we don't
in comparison
deserve it. No.
to the effort that they put.
I think Brennan and I do, Vic, honestly. I think we might have deserved some cake. But
Well, I've already had too much cake if you take a look at me, so good thing.
I'll give it off to Dixon. And Dixon, who's the big playmaker for the Bulldogs. Now he's trying to get to the edge, and he will. And he's got a lot of speed before he's knocked out of bounds by Towner. A couple number ones collide over there in more ways than one.
Yeah, and I was waiting to see a play where we get a chance to see this talent of Dixon, because he has run roughshod through opponents this year. Again, almost 1,700 total offensive yards coming into this game. He went over 1,700 on that play right there.
Yeah, you can see our setup here at St. Paul's, just outside of the press box, and we have had beautiful nights for football. See our statistician right here, Brian Aaron, who we've talked about for so long.
And you just confirmed there that I don't need any more cake. I took up half the table here, so thanks a lot, Jared.
7 seconds left. Well-thrown ball by Gunnar Smith, but Carmichael, the linebacker, dropping back there in coverage, and he was 25 yards down the field in coverage.
Yeah, and batting the ball away.
Well, you're not going to get much about that, man. Anybody that's going to Duke, and his dad tells me such a great student, yeah, he's going to be in the right place at the right time defensively. So he got a good deep drop there, knowing that they wanted to pass the football, so bat it down.
Kevin Sibley, one of our
That's my favorite guy there.
great photographers.
Guy with the long hair.
Just recently married, so congratulations to Kevin Sibley, the newlywed.
Condolences to her.
Wow. Can you see why there's a divide between the crew? Is this one overthrown and incomplete, and now a late flag comes on. And if this is against St. Paul's, and
may hold up the half.
yeah, it might have one more untimed down here if it's a roughing the quarterback call. Holloway was back there, but may just be if it's a holding call, the half will be over.
Holloway is saying it's against UMS-Wright. When we get off the field, it looks like that's going to be the case.
Wow, impressive first half for the St. Paul Saints. They lead 32-0, and they have moved the ball every time they've had it here tonight. And we'll wait. Pat Greenwood will catch up with Steve Mask. So Steve Mask over saying hello to maybe some former players down on the sidelines, maybe, as he makes his way over to Pat Greenwood. Let's go down to Pat.
All right, Coach, about a perfect half of football, wasn't it?
Well, we played pretty well. You know, I was proud of the opening drive. Offense just came out and just took it right down the field, and that's what you got to do this time of year, and real proud of that. And I thought defense would play real well. Just, you know, it's just hard to complain with missed extra point, which that's, if I got to complain about something, that's going to be that.
Let's say, you know, coaches always find something,
yeah,
right?
but, you know, Trey's a good kicker. He'll make them all most of the time, but really a good half for us.
Okay, good stuff. Thanks a lot, Coach. And, you know, again, what do you say there, fellas? I mean, it's been all St. Paul since the start of this one.
Yeah, dominant performance by the Saints. Hey, of course, at the end of every game, you get to log on and vote for a player of the game. Last week, in a runaway, but Dan Brennan thought it should have been more of a runaway. Sure. Jason Smith with 7 touchdowns on the night to keep McGill, Tulin perfect. They beat their big rival Murphy. They did it here on UTV 44, and Jason Smith, the Auburn commit, had a big night, and he was very electrifying all over the field, whether it was running the ball or throwing the ball. 7 touchdowns, and Jared Kihas caught up with him earlier this week.
Just keeping this record that we have going. Yeah.
I just think he came out very focused, you know, and obviously in the first half, you know, accounting for 6 touchdowns, and we did let him play 1 possession in the second half. He drove us right down the field and scored that 7th touchdown. Yeah, just a very explosive player, doing a great job leading our football team. You know, I couldn't be more proud of him.
I think we did pretty good. Some things we could have fixed and we could have adjusted and did better, and that's how we practice now. And it's helping us in the long run. We still making mistakes, but I mean, we're learning from it, and we're getting more educated as the season goes on.
Awful impressive, that young man, Jason Smith. We've had fun watching him, and I bet we get to see him somewhere down the road in the playoffs. Just saying. Just saying.
Like our chances.
You can log on to UTV44.com at the end of tonight's game to vote for Jordan Huff or some others that we'll put up there. His 3 touchdowns in the first half. He's one of the early leaders to be there. When we come back, we'll hear from the UMS band, and it comes up right after this on our UTV44 Game of the Week, brought to you by our friends at Whataburger. Halftime here at St. Paul's. The Saints impressive on top 32-0. It's the M&S Music halftime show, and let's go down and enjoy the UMS marching band. St. Paul's up big at the half, 32-0 on the battle on Old Shell Road. We heard the UMS band. Let's go down to the M&S Music halftime show now. St. Paul's band going to bring you some Beatles music here on this final night of the high school football season, regular season. There you see our score at the half. Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, Vic Lockett, Pat Greenwood down on the field, Jared Kihas in the truck. The Bulldogs fell behind early in this one, and the Saints just took the opening drive, marched it down the field, took 7 minutes off the clock behind that young man, Bradley Pageant, and they've been in control since the kickoff of this game, Dan Brennan.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the power and the speed to do it, and they've certainly had the will, and they've executed, and there you go.
Look at those stats. We talked about UMS, who comes in and runs it for 230-plus yards a game, 29 rushing yards at the half, and just 46 total yards.
Yeah, and Dixon had one big run, so that 29 was inflated by one play.
Right, 281 yards of offense in the first half for the St. Paul Saints, and they continue to roll on here, and impressive so far to open this one up. Our halftime stats brought to you by Will 2, our friend Wes Williams. We thank him for his being a part of high school football yet again. It was 6-0, and it was because of the Saints' long drive. Really took a lot of the clock over half that first half, and their opening drive in the second quarter really just came and took things over in that second quarter. And I know Pat Greenwood probably had a chance to catch up with Terry Curtis down there. Pat.
I sure did, guys. I asked Coach Curtis as I was coming out of the locker room, I said, what'd you tell him at halftime? He kind of looked at me and said, what am I supposed to say? So it was men versus boys in that first half. They were having mental mistakes, obviously couldn't get off the field on third down. So he really challenged them and said, let's see what we're going to do here in the second half. And I'll tell you, with any Terry Curtis coach team, this team's not going to give up. I don't know if it's going to make a difference when it's all said and done in terms of the final score, but this UMS-Wright team's going to play hard in the second half.
Yeah. Pat, did he take a moment to wish you a happy birthday at that time?
No, he didn't. And,
bad timing.
Look, I enjoy my job, but talking to the coach that's down 32-0 at halftime, probably the least favorite part of my job.
Yeah, that's tough.
But at least it was that guy.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly. He hadn't been in this situation a lot of times in his career.
Yeah, but this is where we talked to him about this before the game. A head football coach, so much of it, a high percentage of it is people management.
Sure.
He's managing not so much the coaching staff, it's a veteran staff, but these kids. And, he's going to be watching them. They're going to keep playing hard. And there was the shot heard around the stadium there.
Yeah, Pageant to Towner, who...
Oh, man, what a speedster Towner is.
And here was the first of 3 touchdowns for Jordan Huff in the first half. Huff having a big night here tonight, over 100 yards in the first half and those 3 scores.
As you take a look at this, you think about the play selection, too, as they were making those plays. I mean, that long pass was just unexpected, shocked us in the booth here. And then the draw for the 20-yard touchdown by Huff just certainly caught the defense off guard.
That was a third and 20.
Third and 20. And, so they're doing a good job not only just beating them physically, but they're beating them mentally with their strategy and play selection.
Yeah, and I think something else, Yannick Wildrot, don't overlook every kickoff he's had here in the first half for the Saints into the end zone so that UMS could not get a spark or points off special teams.
Right, and that's one of their strengths. And when you're having trouble moving the ball from the line of scrimmage, this is what you're living for, is a chance to make a play on a kickoff return, and he hasn't given them that opportunity.
Special teams are very special, and tonight they've just taken it away with the end zone kicks.
And there's another one. And UMS will start at the 20. Again, UMS opens up playoffs next week at home, region champions against St. James.
Go back to Terry Curtis, too, and this team and their response that you'll no doubt see here in the second half. If you're looking for effort, you're going to find it. There is no way. These kids respect him so much, they do not want to be the guy on film that is called out.
Well, sure.
They don't want to disappoint
Well, he
him.
talks to the daddies.
Some of them.
I'm telling you, some way it gets in there, and I'm sure it gets in at home as well.
Gunnar Roach on the inside give, and up to the 24-yard line goes Dixon. We really didn't see Dixon get on track in that first half.
Yeah,
Again, coming in, I mean, he was averaging 147 yards a game coming into this contest, and a lot of carries as well. 160 carries coming into tonight.
You got to wonder if there's a better brother combo in the state for their offensive production. T.R. Dixon and Troy Dixon. His older brother's the wide receiver, leads the team in catches with 43 now.
25 touchdowns between them. Roach Gives it to Dixon on the left side, and now Dixon's got some room, and he's going to have a first down for the Bulldogs out to the 31.
He's got some quicks too, Vic Lockett.
Yeah, if he's going to have some opportunities and somebody like Greenwood to follow up on, Mr. Trey Williams is on the sideline. He's not out there with the starters and looking a little dejected, so I'd like to see what's going on with him. That certainly could help him out in getting some running room up there for the UMS Bulldogs.
Not a bad tackle in space by a kid that's always running to the football, Jeb Boudreau.
First down for UMS at the 31. Right back to Dixon up the middle. Into the 35.
Yeah, it seems like Coach Curtis has got the memo as well that Trey Williams out of the game. Let's see what we can find up the middle.
But easier for that offensive line just to fire off and run block, too.
Sure.
Vic.
Oh, yeah, rather than having to deal with the pass rush, because he's been aggravated all night by Holloway and Slater.
And get a rhythm. I mean, this is what they do. I mean, this is what the Bulldogs like to do, able to run it right at you. Pick up a 4 for Dixon, and now Roach will look to throw. Fires it far side. He's able to get that one complete. It's a first down.
You got to get it in
for Jalen Jones.
You got to get it into tight spots with this St. Paul's secondary. They are there. They cover very well.
Nice little drive so far for UMS. Got a couple of first downs out of it, and yeah, they've got to, just like you said, take some chances and put it in there when the receiver doesn't look like he's open, but fire it in there and see if he can make a play for you and catch the football.
Keep in mind that Roach can run.
Dixon on the right side now sees a hole up the middle, and his cut there gives the Bulldogs a first down to the 44 of the Saints.
Yeah. This defense looks a lot different with that 20 in there, and they're finding some space in the middle. Got a nice little edge block there on Carmichael. Just to free him up. Picks up some positive yardage.
Troy Dixon, just a sophomore, had a big freshman campaign last year for UMS-Wright. His brother is split to the bottom of the screen. Gunnar Roach looking on the far side, and that one up and caught, but out of bounds. Jalen Jones.
Yeah, he was getting some heat again by Boudreau. They had the floodgates wide open with a blitz there. Roach a little slow to get up. Let's pray this young man's okay. And come on back and shake it off.
Obviously heading to the playoffs, you don't want this guy hurt. And he gets drilled by Boudreau right there.
Yeah, caught him in a very precarious position where he extending and getting the football out of his hands, and I think they're going to make a change at quarterback or go with a Wildcat situation here.
Yeah. I think they're going to go Wildcat.
No, Johnny Thornton, backup quarterback coming in. Thornton 5'5", 133-pound freshman.
Saw him throwing some before the game. Little guy can let it go now. Probably going to keep it on the ground here, though.
2nd and 10. He goes on a hard count. You see that sometimes, Vic, get a new quarterback in, a little different cadence.
Yeah, that's right. They're not in rhythm with him, so we'll see who's the infraction on, whether it's the defense or the offense. Looked like Jared Holloway jumped a little bit across the line early to me, but
I thought it was the hard count that he went on and was able to draw the Saints offside.
Well, he did get him, huh?
Vic, we got some folks watching up at the hunting camp. Scott Cooper, UMS alumni, watching the game.
You think he'll get me one?
Tonight?
I've been trying to talk to Bragg Rockwell about getting me one. He's a little slow. Yeah, he's shooting me tonight, those Texas. But I said, where's my deer, buddy?
Vic wants some venison chops for the grill.
Oh, yeah.
He wants something to throw on the grill for tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah.
Dixon to the 37.
Another guy texting in saying he's enjoying this football game. Leif Keebler, good friend of mine. Enjoying some Friday night football if they can't make it out.
3rd and 2 coming up, and Gunnar Roach coming back in at quarterback for the Bulldogs. That's a good sign, because that's the last thing you want to see is your quarterback get hurt in week 10 heading into the playoffs.
Yeah, Williams just put his helmet back on for St. Paul's, too, so 20 may be back in the game in a little bit.
Dixon going to have the first down for the Bulldogs.
Jeb Boudreaux caught him on that cut back there, but not early enough to stop the first down. So UMS has kicked the sticks. This is, what, 4 first downs in this first drive out of the second half?
That's what they've needed. Started at the 20.
Sure, some positive. Whatever Coach Curtis said to him in the halftime, this seems like it's resonating, guys.
No doubt. And you know, also, it's just quite an offense that St. Paul's has shown here in the first half. That they did show in the first half, so they haven't even gotten a chance to get the ball. So that's another benefit of this long drive by UMS-Wright, not having to defend the Saints.
Juwan McDowell up to the top of the screen. Roach with pressure, throws this one. It's going to be picked off again as Jalen Thompson has his second of the night. Thompson up the near side, looking to return this one, and he'll step out of bounds on the Saints bench. And a late flag as there was a hit.
Yeah, I saw a bad block in the back.
Yeah.
Unnecessarily. Could have got a player injured. Got to be careful. Let's play the game within the rules and regs.
Will Baines got hit from behind late on that one. But that one just kind of heaved up into no man's land. But again, there was the pressure on.
Well, he was trying to hit that receiver, but I tell you, Towner, I ISO'd on him. He was in a great trail technique, but the ball just didn't
right
have
here at the
enough
bottom
space.
of your screen.
Yeah, that's where I saw it as well.
That was Hunter Quinley, the sophomore linebacker, who put the hit on Will Baines.
Not necessarily. Player was going out of bounds and just getting off the field. No need of that.
Illegal block in the back against a red team. First down.
Second turnover of the night for the Bulldogs after they've been moving the ball down the field.
Yeah, they strung together a great drive there to come up to end up with a turnover. So certainly dejection and demoralizing for the Bulldogs out of that series. Already down 32-0. That's what my dad used to say, "No." You ever heard that one, Dan?
Yeah, Jethro Bodine. I hate to tell you, but that's the only place I heard it. When you ask.
I don't know what "no" is, but I don't think it's much.
Right, it ain't much.
Kind of like the lawyers say, Vic, don't ask a question if you don't know the answer. A little first down for the Saints. Well, Vic, we won't get into much other culinary action, but Scott Cooper has offered frog legs. If you're a frog legs guy, he has frog legs.
I don't know about the amphibians now.
Oh, I'm telling you, some frog legs are awful tasty. First and 10.
I don't know how to cook those.
Oh, he'll come to your house and cook for you, too.
Oh, okay. Come right over, my friend.
Paget gives it to McPherson, who's hit and driven back. Forbes Sermon in to make the stop for the Bulldogs. We'll have high school football for you next week here on UTV 44. Our playoff action will start. Of course, the games are not allowed to be broadcast live, so we'll be on tape delay. Loss of 1 for McPherson. Bring up 2nd and 11.
And fans will enjoy looking at it. I'm sure they wouldn't want to see A&M and Alabama, where Alabama wearing them out.
Trouble with the snap, and Paget just falls on it. Bring up 3rd and about 14 now here for the Saints.
Yeah, before Bama gets to Johnny Football and the crew, they've got a little date tomorrow night in Baton Rouge.
We got a tiny thing over there where I'm sure there'll be some frog legs on some grills over there. And some everything else that I just wouldn't try unless I saw him kill it and put it on the grill personally.
You played in Baton Rouge.
Yes, I have.
It's a night game. Do you have a night game there, Vic?
No, it was a day game. Day game. Played a 2:30 kick there. And won.
3rd and 13 for the Saints. Paget over the middle, able to find his receiver and complete. Sitting down is Nick McClendon.
Very close.
Be just shy of the first down.
The way things are going, he may decide to just go for it. Looks like he gave him the nod. I don't know if it's a nod to kick or a nod to go for it, but it's some kind of nod.
It was
Trey Williams coming back in. Thank God he's okay.
Frankie D'Alonzo comes in. That's the backup fullback, so they're looking to move the pile a little bit. You're right, Trey is a pile mover for sure.
He's a pile mover and stopper.
Yes, he is.
Jordan Huff, their play clock down to 5. Huff will take the handoff on the right side, and he's going to have the first down for the Saints to the 44-yard line.
Great vision by Huff there.
Yeah, always. A couple of things to look at here. Saints with 32 points, the most they've ever scored in this rivalry was back in 19 93. They got 37 against UMS. This is from our research department, also known as Lee Cervanian. We've got to give him some love over at 105.5.
I had a great conversation with him at halftime. That was Syracuse native.
That was the only time, 91, 92, 93, that the Saints had beaten UMS 3 straight times. If they win tonight, they will have done it again.
Jordan Huff will pick up one. Inside 5 minutes to go here in the third. We were talking about the Saints playoff matchup next week going over to Eufaula, and I would guess a lot of the Saints fans have never been to Eufaula for a game, and it is quite an experience. I mean, it is a spectacular stadium that they built there.
Well, the town's got the lake right in, the state line lake, kind of backwaters from the Chattahoochee, right there in the just about middle of town. You could drop a fishing line just about anywhere.
Oh, no wonder Jim likes it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there you go. Now we're getting to the root of the evil.
Very unique little town, little city.
And they'll give it off to D'Angelo, the fullback. He doesn't get a lot of carries. It'll get to the 35 there. Pat Greenwood.
You'll notice Trey Williams is in there on offense, and I asked one of the trainers what happened, why he didn't start defensively. They said he just wasn't feeling good, so they decided, up 32-0, we're not going to put him in there because he wasn't feeling good. Well, Trey wasn't too happy about that. Went over to, I assume, his mom. Came back and said, look.
Brought a note.
She said I could play. So there he is back in the ball game.
3rd and 1 for the Saints.
Well, you practice all week. Hey, this is the fun part here. You want to get in there.
Against your rival, and Jordan Huff is going to have the first down and now some more, and he'll be knocked out of bounds at the 25.
Jim, good point. Yeah, and you're playing against the guys across the street. You're going to see it at church, see it at the Mardi Gras. You're going to see it at the fair. Hey, you want to get in there and play. You practice all week.
Yeah. He ran into our old buddy. He ran into the mole on the far sidelines. One Kay Donaldson Foose, attorney at law, who we, of course, used to correspond a great deal with. Good friend of mine and Jim's. And Don is a longtime supporter and sent a couple of really good football players through the system at UMS-Wright. He's coached there, some of the younger levels.
Pitch it to McPherson. Wow, big hit. The ball comes loose and recovered by the Saints. Boy, a big hit, and that ball squirted loose all the way down to the 10-yard line.
Yeah, and that was some good, tough running by that little guy.
You heard that
in
pop.
there with some authority.
Hilliard able to recover it for the Saints.
Well, it's rare that you see a fumble this far downfield where the offense comes up with it.
Good hustle by the lineman, just staying involved in the play, running downfield.
Yeah, Pedway was unaware the ball was looser. He could have gotten there, but he was still pursuing McPherson.
1st and goal from the 8 for the Saints.
The way he's running, he'll be chasing him in his sleep tonight.
Huff, his 4th touchdown here tonight. Jordan Huff takes the pitch and goes in for the score.
His campaign for player of the game is well underway.
Well, he's running away with it. It was magic.
And it's 38-0 St. Paul's.
There you have it right there. That's the most the Saints have ever scored in a game against the UMS-Wright Bulldogs.
Well, as soon as you bring the record up, they go ahead and smash through it.
Baudet on for the PAT. Ooh, that one blocked and falls just short. That is UMS' 7th block kick this season. So the Saints, the only thing they've struggled on tonight, the point after. But they're on top 38-0. St. Paul's all over UMS. And it's been as dominating as it looks on the scoreboard here with 3 minutes to go in the third. Wild drop sends this one to the near side, and Dixon will get his first chance to return it tonight, and he's got some space, and he's out to the 31-yard line as UMS comes out on the field. Hey, we've got lots of folks watching and texting. We got the Long family from Mobile watching this. Now they got three boys. Earl went to McGill. Bennett goes to St. Paul's. Forrest went to UMS.
Wow.
So How about that for a little in-house rivalry? And they're all watching the game here tonight on UTV 44.
A lot of conflict in that house. I don't know if the police show up every night, or they kind of keep it calm. There's potential conflict there, and that concerns me. As a parent and as a citizen.
Gunnar Roach gives it off. Troy Dixon. And Dixon gets out to around the 35.
Seeing Dixon a little more space here in the second half and seeing just what he can do. And he's got some moves.
Hey, one of our friends, Chuck Dart, loves to email into our games here, and he was at Murphy back from 1980 to 1984 when Terry Curtis was an assistant coach at Murphy, part of a state championship team there as an assistant, and he said one of his biggest disappointments while he was at Murphy is he never had TC as a teacher.
Oh, so the word around was...
TC was a cool guy then.
Right. Speaking of that, this is really something. Terry and I were talking earlier.
We got to get to our trivia question.
Okay, let's do that.
It's our 14th year at UMS. Came in late 1990s. Who do you replace?
He replaced Chris Nemeth,
who is at Gulf Breeze High School in Florida right now.
But in between then...
Had a little stop. Speaking of guys at different private schools.
He went to McGill-Tulane Catholic High School.
Chris, a good guy. Great
guy.
Boy, how about a motivator? He was someone who would get those kids ready to play on the Friday night lights.
Boy, and they did play hard for him.
3rd and 6. Roach fires it to the far side and knocked down. They're going to call pass interference on Carmichael. Got there just a little early. But anyway, back in the
80s. Terry and I were talking, and sometimes our conversations get a little off point, right? That's the way us boys do sometimes.
Right? You keep him on the rails, though.
I do not. And so we were just talking about televising games, and I said way back when I was a very young guy, we do games occasionally when I was living in Athens, Georgia, and Clark Central football games. Kind of on and off, we would do some games.
Radio or television?
Television. So I said there was a game in 1984, and I was recalling some of the players. It was Jeff Davis came from Montgomery to play Clark Central.
Okay.
Derek Dooley was a tight end on Clark Central's team.
Wow.
Of course, Vince didn't think Derek could cut it. Did not recruit him to Georgia. He went to Virginia and broke records, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, as I'm telling the story, Terry says, I was at that game.
Scouting like for playoffs or something?
For the playoffs.
Wow.
So if the good Lord had been willing, Terry Curtis and I would not have met in 2000. We would have met in 1984.
How about that?
How would life have been different? I don't know. And he said when he left, he remembered one thing about one player.
A young broadcaster just coming into his own?
That's not what he remembered, Jim. You're going to have to try again or be eliminated from the show.
2nd and 10, we'll get back to reminiscing about Terry Curtis watching a game in Georgia in the 80s.
Athens, Georgia. Clark Central against Jeff Davis.
Dixon going to be stopped for another loss here.
He remembered one player, and he said, man, Clark Central had a heck of a kicker. The kicker is still in the NFL today. His name is John Casey.
Wow.
How about that?
Unbelievable.
He was kicking in 1984 at Clark Central High School and continues to kick today.
Well, and that says something about how Coach Curtis could just see that in that kid back then. He could recognize talent.
He was a great kicker. I mean, he really was a difference maker even back then. And Casey really wanted to play on the field. He was a good enough athlete. But his dad, who was a strength coach at Georgia, said, son, your ticket is kicking.
And it's been his ticket. And this one hit up in the air and incomplete as they get Gunnar Roach, and it'll bring up 4th down.
Well, guess who? Jared Holloway, who we've been pointing out all night, just harassing Roach back there in the backfield. He's just all over the place, particularly in their backfield.
No, we don't want the St. Paul's fans to think that we only have some nuggets on the UMS coach, because we got some nuggets we'll bring out about Coach Steve Mask in the 4th quarter.
Well, he's not good at keeping secrets. I mean, Steve will talk to you.
He also
He's a great guy. He looks like he could be. You could just really sit down and enjoy a long night with him.
He's a football coach.
Towner back at the 15 and slips. He's also the first coach to recall a woman that he dated on the pregame show when he referenced back to a woman named Sandy that he dated back in his past.
Okay, now that's supposed to stay between you boys. I'm sure he don't want you to go there on the air with that one.
I'm just saying, he doesn't keep secrets well.
All right, our halftime show every week here on UTV 44 brought to you by M&S Music, longtime sponsors of the halftime show. Callagaz, print with those who know color. And also United Rentals, another proud supporter of our high school football games, as we're down to half a minute to go in the third quarter.
Got some of the fresh jerseys in the game now, Jim.
Hayden Farr comes in at quarterback. Farr with a pitch on the near side, and Austin Mosley up the near side, and he tries to cut it back, and he'll be knocked out of bounds by Petway at around the 35-yard line.
Fresh jerseys, looks like the old dirty jerseys that were in there in the first quarter.
Yes, it does.
You know, Mosley's 54 carries, 229 yards coming into tonight's contest, and a couple of TDs on the year.
Yeah, you know, they just unload the bench. Looks like a team that's in 3 hours north of here. You put the backups in, you're still getting great results.
Oh, the flag all the way back at the 38, holding call. And that'll bring that one back.
I hate to see that for that young man getting his opportunity to get the football and hear Jim Cox call his name and it gets nullified.
He'll be back. This kid's got a lot of football left in him, just a junior.
Well, I know Coach Mass knows he'll need his starters. There's bigger fish to fry. And then he may need these backup guys, so why not get them in here and get them some reps and repetitions?
You heard Coach Mass there ask if he had a number. We want to know who was the guilty party of holding.
A correctable situation, no doubt.
Coachable moment.
In his mind.
Right back to Mosley in a big hole again, and Mosley breaks a shoestring tackle, and he's out to the 49, and that's a first down.
Well, he says, hey, we can do the same thing. I'll just run a replay, and Jared don't even have to key it up.
Yeah, they're doing it with a lot of new guys on that offensive line, too.
Yeah. I mean, if you take a look at it here, he's just a shoestring away right there from just taking it the distance. It lost his balance, and lets the other defender be able to catch up with him.
Yeah, and that'll bring the third quarter to a close. 38-0, St. Paul's has the lead over UMS. We got one quarter to go with the regular season. That's it. And we're on to the playoffs. It's high school football live here on UTV 44. Ready to start the fourth quarter here. Vic Lockett, Dan Brennan, Jim Cox, Pat Greenwood on the sideline, Jared Kihos in the truck. 1st and 10 for the St. Paul Saints. They'll pitch it to Mosley. Mosley on the left side, and he'll stay in bounds, but he's into Bulldog territory. They want to say hi to some other folks that are watching the game tonight. Russell Buffkin, Alan Ladd, Michael Leland, Ashley Leland, all watching tonight's game. And Michael Leland, a UMS-Wright fan, his wife Ashley on the board of directors. And with this game at 38-0, Michael Leland has just removed his ascot while watching the game and has taken off the smoking jacket. He is not happy at the score at this point of the game.
You guys got to be really good friends for you to pull that one on him.
2nd and 7. Mosley will pick up one, bring up 3rd down.
So Michael Leland spent Halloween dressed as Charles Nelson Riley. Is that what you're telling me?
In the middle square. He has have a little game show set at the new house.
Like Kramer had the Merv Griffin.
Right.
Yeah.
Ashley did not dress up as Chara. I mean, there was no...
Got some fresh jerseys in there. We're talking about Henry Mitchell and John Cavola. Troy Thingstad, who's a big guy, number 70.
Shoo. 3rd and 7. Farr feels pressure, and he's going to be hit and dropped all the way back at the 38-yard line.
Kendra Piron.
Yeah, Piron came off there in the defensive end spot. And he'll bring up 4th down, and first punt of the night, if I'm not mistaken, coming up for the St. Paul Saints.
Yeah, Saints, they've moved it every time they've had it. This time they move it, but it's backwards. Piron with some good pressure. They take advantage of some of the inexperience on that St. Paul's line as they've substituted liberally here in the fourth.
Yeah, Forbes, Simon in there, initially giving him the pressure, grabbed him by the jersey, and P. Ryan came and cleaned it up.
Yannick wild drop to punt. Dixon back for the return. Oh, high kick by wild drop. Not good at all, and bounds out of bounds at the 48, and that one only goes 3 yards from the original line of scrimmage. And in tonight's game, you can log on to vote for the UTV 44 player of the game. We'll have 3 selections for you, none of which will be wearing an ascot when we talk to them next week, I'm pretty sure. Of course, big night here for Jordan Huff. Bradley Pageant played well. Kylan Towner came in, made a difference offensively for the Saints team.
Thanks for veering away from the accessory conversation to get back to some of the spectacular effort we've seen here tonight.
Gunnar Roach still at quarterback for the Bulldogs. Dixon up the middle, right out toward midfield. Yeah, we're talking about Terry Curtis and all his accomplishments, of course, in the Hall of Fame. And both in Mobile and in the Alabama High School Athletic Association Hall of Fame. But he's not the only Hall of Famer here. Steve Mask, coach of the Saints, he's in the Colbert County Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Legendary up there. Of course, took that team to the state finals, I believe it was back in '02. Also coached at Bradshaw and Buckhorn.
I saw the plaque for myself.
Gunnar Roach on the far side, able to get that one complete to Dixon. And Dixon will fight hard and get the first down to the 41-yard line for the Bulldogs.
Yeah,
he's also a basketball coach up there. Started out coaching basketball and then became an assistant coach and a head coach up in Colbert County.
I bet you he could teach you how to box out because his football teams are very physical.
I mean, just such a likable guy. I mean, a big smile on his face. Really enjoys what he.
He's one of those guys you sit down with and he calls it like he sees it. You know, he's not. Mask is an ironic name for him. He doesn't mask much.
Here's Dixon inside the 15. And no flags on that one. Biggest offensive play of the night.
Yeah, I thought
the
they were
Bulldogs.
going to get him on a little hole there, but certainly didn't catch it there. So positive yardage for the UMS Bulldogs to at least take the 0 there. It was the hole I thought they'd get, but
it wasn't a counter play, really, but he countered where it was going and cut against the grain.
Sure, good vision by him to see where he needs to go for the opening and get his body to go in that direction.
First and goal from the 8. Hamilton Phillips will take the handoff on the right side. Phillips makes a move, and he's in for the touchdown for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, good little step inside and then to the outside. Get themselves off the snide there and get some points on the board to be blanked by the St. Paul Saints.
Phillips with his 4th touchdown of the season. He came in at tonight's game averaging 9.9 yards a carry on 25 carries this year.
Right there. Nice little move inside and out to get into the end zone.
That was a nice move by Phillips. They go for 2 and they get it.
Yep, we'll go for 2 indeed, as Dan says, and they pick it up. So it's 38-8. UMS on the board with this one all. St. Paul's with 8 minutes to go. Big night here for the Saints tonight. Hey, you know, it's funny. We get all the people checking in and texting in. You know who else is watching the game tonight?
Tell me.
Head coach of the undefeated McGill Tulane Yellow Jackets, Bart Sessions, as the Saints. Mosley will watch this one bound out of bounds. McGill winner last night to close out the season on perfect schedule. He's enjoying some high school football.
Always good to hear from St. Bartholomew.
Pat Greenwood.
Well, talking about St. Paul, certainly one of the better teams in 5A in the state. And remember this, guys, when we had the reclassification, St. Paul's was a 4A team for about 4 hours or so. Remember, they forgot to count the one school. So can you imagine the St. Paul's team in the 4A ranks? Because UMS certainly one of the best 4A teams. So, yeah, pretty impressive what they're doing here at St. Paul's.
Yeah, they'd be at the ringmaster right now. They would be getting fitted as we speak.
As one coach likes to say, you know, if da-da-da-da-da, I'd be calling the jeweler.
Yeah, they would be a monster in 4A.
To get the rings ready. Now we'll...
St. Paul's making wholesale changes there up front. I see
Miller Mosley in at quarterback, too.
Yeah, and I see Stuart Thames snapping it to him. His aunt, Leslie Martin, I know she's here cheering him on and excited he's getting the opportunity to get in the football game. Maybe Jim Cox will call his name.
Vic, I like when you bring in folks that you didn't meet at the barbershop. I like that you're branching out. I'm just guessing that's not where the acquaintance is from.
Hey, and I'll tell you, the Martins have sent a few ball players through here, too.
Hard-nosed, playing kids.
Oh, yeah.
2nd and 8 for the Saints. We'll try to...
Leslie's from Tennessee, though. No relation to the Martins, I'm sure.
Well, thanks for ruining a good story.
Mosley. You know, they don't know unless you point it out, Vic.
Well, we like to report it correctly.
No, that's a good point.
But I'm sure Leslie appreciates that. She's got her dad in town this weekend. He's also from Tennessee. They're enjoying the beautiful night of football here in South Alabama.
Hunter Stokes in the game and also in there. There you see the big fellow we talked about, Troy Thingstad.
Well, you can't miss him. He's covering up the whole screen, Dan.
That's a big guy.
Just a sophomore, 6'5", 255.
Just a pup.
You got to like what you got to work with right there, Coach Maz.
John Kavula next to him. Mosley looking to fire it off the far side. That'll be incomplete.
Oh, got to be careful over there. A kid's helmet is over there on the sideline. If that receiver would have stepped on that, that could have been very bad.
Ooh, bring up 4th down. We're inside 7 minutes left. St. Paul's will close out the year at 8-2. St. Paul's finished 6-1 in the region, but finished 3rd because of tiebreakers. So that's why they open up on the road.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that's a rough draw right there. I mean, they were that close to winning that game in regulation and would have been first in the region.
Wild drop with a good kick. Dixon will just back away from it.
Lost a biker, cost him a lot in gas money.
Yep, sure did. I want to thank some more folks that are proud to be part of high school football here on UTV 44 every Friday night, including the orthopedic group and Tyndall Credit Union, Davison Fuels and Oil, Mr. Paget, Bradley Paget's dad from there, and Wes Williams from Wheel 2. Just really, you see any of these folks, local businessmen, stop them and just tell them how much you appreciate them allowing us to do it, because we sure do.
We realize you may have your opinions on the possibility of changing out some of the announcers.
Let them know that as well.
We're all big people here.
And I'm sure Dan's agent will talk to your people and his people talking to yours, and they'll get that corrected.
I don't have people.
It gets complicated behind the scenes.
Yeah, it really is. It all goes back to that lunch in July when Brennan picks the schedule that we talked about a few weeks ago.
It goes back to 1984 when fate would have it I did not meet Terry Curtis at Clark Central High School in Athens, Georgia.
God has a strange way of handling things, doesn't he? I think that was probably for the best, because if you two guys would have got together back then.
1980. I'd like to, you know.
You can fill in those blanks, but I'm not gonna.
We're not going to share it with our viewing audience either.
Inside 6 minutes to go and offside here against the Saints. Bring up 2nd down and 4.
What did they accomplish here tonight, St. Paul's? Because obviously they were, you know, physically they could overmatch UMS-Wright. But you go into the playoffs, what have they done?
Well, you know, they've cleaned up everything. You know, they hadn't been penalized a lot. So, you know, they've got a chance to just get a little warm up and get ready for the real game. And everybody's got some good reps. Now, most of them are on the sideline that's going to play the entire game of the playoffs. But certainly they've got some stuff cleared up. They're knowing exactly what they are and who they are, and knowing what they've got to do to go on deep into the playoffs.
Now we'll see all the defense come out for the Saints. And, you know, Terry Curtis talked about this in the pregame show, Dan. He talked about all the kids that are running scout teams and everything else all year long. They've got to get into play. He said, you know, it's a long year. And if you're not a superstar, you're not a kid who starts, sometimes you're like, boy, this is a long season.
Yeah,
Jim, let me tell you, there's long weeks, brother.
Yeah. What's in it for me, right?
You get a chance to get out here and make a play, Jim will call your name.
DeAndre Smith takes the handoff, and Hayden Mezek comes up to make the stop.
I'm just glad to see Smith's okay. Remember, he got planted by, might have been Slater early in the game. He was overrun as he tried to throw a block on that big defensive tackle.
Hey, let's talk about our Scholastic Athletes of the Week. Carrie Cook from UMS-Wright. She's a senior. I don't know how they do it over there at UMS-Wright, like for cumulative average, but over 100 is probably pretty good, I would have to say.
That's all A's plus the apple.
Soccer and basketball. She's also a part of the National Honor Society, and she's going to go to Pennsylvania, play soccer.
University of Pennsylvania, if you don't know, is an Ivy League school, so that clears that up.
Right.
That probably says enough right there.
So good to her. And Carter Albrecht, our old friend Pete Albrecht's son, senior, 4.2 GPA, plays soccer and basketball, class president, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade already with all precincts reporting.
I saw Pete here in the stands a little bit early, enjoying some high school football as well.
Yeah, National Honor Society. And
know they're proud of that young guy.
AP scholar, so congratulations. Johnny Thornton will give this one off. DeAndre Smith spins down to the 24-yard line as we approach 4 minutes to go.
I saw the receiver just kind of moving back on side as the play before the snap. I don't know if I've ever seen that before and they didn't call it. They just
Let it roll.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Dan Brennan's jet going to be leaving here shortly after game. Got another gig in probably New York or L.A. to get to.
You got a meeting at the barbershop, no doubt.
Get all the tidbits to report here.
That's right.
First and 10 from the 25. I'm going to try to update you on some other scores going on tonight. Thornton wants to air it out, looking for the corner of the end zone, and it's just incomplete. He's trying to get it to his intended receiver over there, Grant Barber. Let's look at some of those other scores. Foley continues to roll into the playoffs, 43-21. They beat Theodore. St. Luke's 56-21 over Cottage Hill. Baldwin County beats Atmore 20-0. Gulf Shores beats Citronelle 49-22. Murphy leads Viger. That's a little surprising.
It is.
See that not that Murphy is winning, but just the difference in that score.
What was that score?
49-22 in the fourth quarter.
Also, not even close, huh?
Man.
Yeah, they've lost focus over there. Viger looking forward to the playoffs rather than the business at hand.
But we talked about it. That was Murphy's playoff game. That was their last game of the year, not going to the playoffs.
Seniors want to go out with a bang.
And they've got that offense that you see once every blue moon.
Yeah. Also, Fairhope beats Andalusia 49-14. Sarah win over Luverne. DeAndre Smith on third down. And Satsuma is shut out by Bayside 46-0. Spain Park beats Oxford 20-6 tonight.
Maybe next year we can get Jeff Kelly's Saraland team on, because he is really a fine guy and somebody who's trying to put something together there up on I-65.
Yep. Speaking of going up I-65, Jackson and Thomasville tied at 14. Slugfest there.
Hey, there you go.
Daphne beating Bryant 35-15 as we got fourth down here for the Bulldogs. It's Thornton, the youngster, under center. Just a freshman, and he's going to be hit and wrapped up and dropped on fourth down back at the 30-yard line.
Guys still hustling hard, even though it's the waning moments of the football game. They still want to play hard and try to, I was about to say protect the shutout, but they did get a score. Don't want them to get any more as a defense.
You know, you look at 6, 5, and 4A in our region, and you've got teams that everybody around the state looks at and says, I wouldn't bet against them to win it.
I know.
McGill, 6A. You know, a class of our 6A region down here. Then you've got this St. Paul's team. You've got Spanish Fort. You've got Viger. And, of course, this region, 3 of the last 5 years, has produced the state champion. And then 4A, you got UMS-Wright. And, you know, this I feel badly that this is the only time our viewing audience gets to see UMS-Wright on TV in a game where they're outmatched physically, because this is one of the best teams in 4A. Yeah, they're ranked number 3 in 4A and one of the best teams out there.
Yeah, and it just didn't work out in terms of schedule and key games and where they were played. And
yeah, the Thomasville game, we'd love to know UMS Thomasville, and it should have been at UMS this year, but because they had to do the rearranging of the regions, it ended up for some quirky reason that they played in Thomasville back-to-back years, and UMS went up there and won 49-42.
Yeah, we don't have the ability to broadcast live from Thomasville, so that's the end of that discussion.
As we're down to 45 seconds here.
Yeah, this St. Paul's team, I mean, they give a good tussle to the 6A teams. I mean, so, yeah, it's just a matter. And they classify these things for a reason, and this is why. It's
got to do with enrollment.
Sure.
And
when you have enrollment, because you have you have more probability of getting captioned better talent, the more students are there.
And
they've got it. They've got the talent.
They've got it here.
They will not have
I will not use that R word this week.
They will not have to take another
suspension.
Another snap. There's rumor that might happen next week anyway. There's a snap will not need to be taken because the play clock has got a 2-second differential, so that'll be our final here. St. Paul's 3 in a row over UMS-Wright. 38-8. And they both head into the playoffs with records of 8-2.
And right now, both of them heading to the 50-yard line to say good game to you, and I'll see you at the mall and see you around town, see you at church, and great sportsmanship we love to see between the two teams that are just down the street from each other on Old Shell Road.
As we'll wait, Coach Mask will his first matchup as a head coach between these two teams gets the win.
And you remember the pregame show, Bradley Padgett actually spent most of his time in the pregame show before the show began in a table full of UMS-Wright players. So
wow.
They all knew each other that well.
Sure. Let's go down to Pat Greenwood. Pat.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Coach, obviously a very good game for you guys. To do it against UMS-Wright, what does that mean to you guys?
It's big for our school. We call this game's for the building. Our building cares a whole lot about this game, and our players do, and our entire faculty. So this game is for our entire staff and faculty in our school. So we're very happy to get a win.
Changes a little bit next week, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. We've got a tough road to hoe going to Eufaula, but we'll load them up and take them and go see what happens. We got a good football team. We'll play well.
And lastly, what do you take out of tonight that you apply to the game against Eufaula?
Well, there were a couple of things that I saw that were very encouraging. We were able to drive the ball. We've got to be able to do that in the playoffs. Got to eat some clock and drive the ball. So very encouraged by that.
All right, good luck next week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all being here.
All right, guys.
Impressive performance by the Saints for sure. They win it 38-8, and about 10 weeks. When we're done with the regular season, that's it.
It flew by.
Yeah, well, and we've got tricked by this, the September weather that's hung around the whole time. So,
we'll take it.
We'll take it.
Yeah, if it's here when we're doing the semifinals, I'm okay with that.
Hit your knees and say hallelujah.
As we thank all the folks who make high school football. Boy, they really do a great job. Jared Kihas, Vance Lang, and also you got Mark Joseph, Ed Smith, and Leanna Mattinson working on the graphics. Brian Aaron, our statistician, and Alvania, Victoria, Kevin Sibley, Thomas, Rodney, Jeremy, Corey, and also Raymond, our camera operators.
Vance Lang turning down bigger money from ESPNU in Charlotte. Came back to Mobile.
Couldn't stay away.
I got to be with my guys.
Jonathan Braswell down in the truck doing our replay. Jeremy Jordan and Van Allen, our grips. Jared Kihas, the producer, director, does the audio. James Ray, our timeout coordinator, also known as Red Hat. Bill Cooch, Scott Knight, and Raymond Wilson, our engineers. Master Control, Kevin Gamble back there, and Chris DeSalvo. We got a lot of folks. This is what it takes to put on a high school football game.
The only person they need to fire is the makeup person because they did a terrible job on you guys.
Wow.
I'm pretty.
Vic Lockett.
Hey, by the way, our man, Chris DeSalvo, known in the broadcast industry as Chrisissippi. That's where he's from.
All right, let's tell you who our players of the game are that you can log on to UTV 44 and vote for. Bradley Padgett, quarterback of the Saints. Jordan Huff, star running back of the Saints, and Kylan Towner, who was great all over the football field for the Saints. You can log on to UTV44, and we'll have the player of the game next week during our first playoff game here on UTV44.
And that's beautiful. The fans have all the vote, and we just do the nominating.
That's it. The Saints all getting their picture taken under the scoreboard with the victorious score there. So our final score 38-8. 10 weeks done. We are ready for the playoffs. They'll start next week here on UTV 44. So for Pat Greenwood on the sidelines, Jared Kihas on the truck, Vic Lockett, Dan Brennan, Brian Aaron up here. I'm Jim Cox saying so long and good night from E.E. Delaney Memorial Stadium, where the Saints close out the year with a record of 8-2, and they win for the third time in a row over their rival from up Old Shell Road.